In a world where hustle culture collides with wellness mornings and workplace demands keep evolving, how do we stay sharp without burning out? How do we navigate the endless stream of wellness trends while actually getting results? This is the Work and Wellness Podcast, and I'm your host, Ange Davis. Drawing from my own journey of wins, stumbles, and honest revelations, I'll be bringing you raw, unfiltered conversations with experts and inspiring guests who've been there, lived it, and found a better way. Together, we'll cut through the noise and workshop what it really means to be well in today's workplace. No more choosing between success and sanity. No more sacrificing health for achievement. Whether you're struggling with burnout, searching for purpose, or simply ready to work smarter, not harder, you're in the right place. This is real talk about real solutions for real people. Let's get into it. Hello friends, welcome to the show. This week marks the end of financial year, and whether you are a spreadsheet lover or someone who avoids opening your bank account app, no judgment, this time of year can be a really powerful reset point. So I thought this week I would do an episode on how to use this moment to reset everything. And if you do want to reset, I encourage you to just pause and then go and get a journal or a notepad, because I'm going to give you some journal prompts or some thought starters that might help you use this end of financial year as a great opportunity to reset. So we're going to talk about how we use this moment, not just for our tax returns, but to realign our financial, mental, and career well-being. I'll be walking you through some science-backed strategies, some journaling prompts to reflect on, like I said, and then some practical tools to start the new financial year strong. Let's get started with resetting our financial well-being. We often wait for January 1st to reset goals, but the financial year is a really practical reset point. It's also a really ideal time to zoom out and ask, how do my money habits support or sabotage my well-being? Financial stress is one of the strongest predictors of mental distress. And the Australian Psychological Society's 2023 report found 45%, almost half of people, cite money stress as their top source of anxiety. So that is a really large amount of people who are saying money is their number one source of anxiety. But the upside is that research from the University of Arizona found that even small improvements in financial literacy and planning can significantly reduce stress and increase perceived control, which is really important. So, some things that you might want to do, a couple of reset tools this new financial year, are to do a simple spending audit. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or in depth, but take a moment to sit down. You're going to be pulling things together for your tax returns anyway, and just review your last 2 to 3 months and note where your money's going. With no judgment. It doesn't have to be anything good or bad about where it's gone, but it's just observing where your money has gone over the last 2 to 3 months. And then set a well-being budget. It's so important to invest in your well-being. It helps us to be our best selves as we move forward. And the reality is, if we don't make time for our wellness, we will have to make time for our illness. And so I encourage you, once you've reviewed how your spending is over the last 2 to 3 months, think about 1 to 2 things that you might want to incorporate or continue that are an investment in your well-being, and then look at how you budget for that. And then think about creating one no regrets goal. So that might be by June 2026, in 12 months time, you want to have saved a certain amount for an overseas holiday, or you want to have a certain amount invested in shares, or you might want to have saved a deposit for a house. Whatever that looks like, but set a goal for the next 12 months and then work backwards from that. What do you need to do each month to achieve that goal? From a financial wellbeing perspective, some journal prompts that I encourage you to write for yourself, and it helps you to really get underneath your spending and understand what is serving you and what's not. The first prompt is, what purchases made me feel good long after I bought them? We are in a instant gratification world at the moment, and I definitely think that social media encourages impulse purchasing. And so take a moment to think about the things you bought over the last 3 to 6 months and think about which of those truly continue to make you feel good long after you bought them. The second journal prompt is, what areas of spending feel misaligned with the life I'm trying to create? So if you've got a life that you're trying to create that involves certain things, is there anything in your spending at the moment that is leading you away from that? Because quite often we spend out of alignment with what our ultimate goal is. So doing an activity to understand what your ideal life is, your rich life, the right life you're trying to create, and then mapping your spending to that to see if it's getting you closer towards that or further away from that. And the final one is, what would financial freedom look and feel like for me? This one is a little bit more of a reflective one, and it talks a little bit to that rich life, particularly in a cost of living environment that we're in at the moment. It can really help to understand in the future what is financial freedom going to look like, and then you can really discern everything that you do. Is that working you closer towards that or further away from that? It can help to understand what that goal is. So I'll repeat those questions. What purchases made you feel good long after you bought them? What areas of spending feel misaligned with the life that you're trying to create? And what would financial freedom look and feel like for you? That is your financial wellbeing reset. So what about our mental well-being? The new financial year can also trigger a bit of a mid-year slump for some of us. We might be seeing a lot of people on holidays or going overseas. We've worked solidly for 6 months of the year. It's cold for us in Australia at the moment, and motivation can be low and stress at end of financial year can be high depending on what sort of job you do. But this is why a mental reset can truly shift everything. Harvard research actually shows that reflective practices, even brief ones that you do daily, can significantly boost resilience. And the broaden and build theory from Barbara Fredrickson actually tells us that even small positive emotions help us widen our lens and solve problems better. Here are some reset tools that you might want to start to use. The first one is a mental declutter. I am a huge fan of this. I take 10 minutes every evening to brain dump everything that's crowding my mind. It might not take the full 10 minutes. It might take 5. It might take 2. It depends on how busy my mind is on that day. But taking some time to physically write down, and writing with a pen is more effective than typing or writing in your phone. And write down anything that's in your mind. It helps to just reset you mentally, stop you from carrying that load, and it also helps you to have a better sleep. The second thing is to recommit to a non-negotiable habit. For some of you, it might be movement. Others, it might be connection or sleep or nutrition. Just pick one thing that you committed to back at the start of the year. You may have done a New Year's resolution or goal, and it might have slipped off the radar. So if there is something that you want to keep working towards and it might have slipped, find what that is and recommit for the remaining half of the year. And the final one is to create a mental maintenance plan. So, this is not about a 3-hour morning routine. There might be 2 or 3 things that you do that really improve your mental health. So it might be 10 minutes of journaling, 20 minutes of daylight, and one nourishing conversation a week or something like that. For me, it's daily movement, daily mindfulness, and reading before bed. Those 3 things I know set me up really well to have strong mental well-being. And so just be curious with yourself about what are the habits that really serve you that you can continue to carry in or introduce back for the second half of the year. Some journal prompts that will help with your mental well-being. What habits help me feel most like myself? What is no longer serving me that I can release this quarter? Are you doing something or carrying something or holding on to something that doesn't serve you anymore? And what does a well version of me look like on a typical Wednesday? So not when you're doing the most or, you're doing a challenge, but just on a normal Wednesday, what does the most well version of you look like? I'll repeat those in case you missed them. What habits help you feel most like yourself? What is no longer serving you that you can release? And what does a well version of you look like on a typical Wednesday? And then finally, let's talk about work, your career well-being. Whether you're employed, leading a team, or running your own business, this is a really good time to reassess your career direction and energy as we move into the new financial year. A Gallup study shows that people who reflect on and align their work with their strengths are 6 times more likely to be engaged. And burnout is often from misalignment rather than overwork. Now, don't get me wrong, overwork certainly causes burnout, but what is typically the root cause of burnout is that overwork when it's not in alignment with your values and your strengths. Some reset tools that might help you going into the new financial year. An energy audit. I love this one because it's not always about how long you're spending doing something. It's about how much energy that task takes. So I encourage you to look at your calendar for the past month. What tasks or meetings gave you energy and what tasks or meetings drained your energy or interactions? Update your LinkedIn and your CV. This is not just for job seekers. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are searching for something, but it's a great opportunity to recognize your achievements and your growth and the skills that you've developed. It can be really positive to look back on the last 6 months, seeing what projects that you've done, what skills you've developed, what you've achieved, and update your LinkedIn and your CV. It can make you feel really good moving into the rest of the year. And set one career well-being goal, something like I want to show up more strongly in team meetings, or I want to pitch myself for a certain piece of work or a project or a certain opportunity. Set yourself a goal as the year comes to an end, the last 6 months of the year. If you get to December 31, what is one thing that you would have loved to achieve in your career for this 6 months? Some journal prompts that will help you with your career well-being. What part of my work lights me up and what part drags me down? Really understanding. We're not going to always be able to do work that lights us up, but you want on balance more of your work to light you up than drag you down. Who is someone in my network I would love to reconnect with professionally this quarter? We all make networks of people throughout our lives and our careers. Is there someone who had an impact on you or you feel like you'd want to reconnect with? Choose that person and reach out. And if I could change one thing about my work week, what would it be? I'll repeat those. What part of your work lights you up? What part drags you down? Who is someone in your network that you'd love to reconnect with professionally this quarter? And if you could change one thing about your work week, what would it be? As we wrap today's episode, I want to leave you with this. You do not need a complete life overhaul. It's really just a great opportunity for recalibration. This start of the financial year is simply a line in the sand. It's a great temporal landmark to use it to pause, reflect, and move forward for the remaining 6 months of the year with more intention. Whether it's revisiting your relationship with money, reclaiming mental space, or realigning your work with your values, you deserve to thrive, not just survive. Until next time, take care of your mind, your money, and your momentum. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me on Work and Wellness. If today's episode resonated with you, remember, someone in your network might need to hear this too. Share it with a colleague or friend who could use these insights. I'd love to keep the conversation going, so find us on Instagram at Mind Your Grit, where we share daily tips and continue these discussions. And if you found value in today's episode, please take time to rate and review the show. It makes such a huge difference and helps other people discover conversations they might really need. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Each week, we're building a community of people who believe that success and well-being go hand in hand. You can find the notes, resources, and links from today's episode at mindyourgrit.com. This is Work and Wellness with Ange Davis. Your work matters, your wellness matters, and this is where it all comes together. See you next week.